17,000 and counting. That's the current number of signatures to the Save Wolverhampton Speedway petition. It's good. It's very good, in fact, but it's not enough. If you haven't signed the petition, then why not? If you haven't signed the petition, then do it, and do it now, even if it means missing a few minutes of the Speedway Tavern. To paraphrase a very famous Irish person, give us your signatures now. In other news, this weekend the GP start, and we have three Brits that maybe have a chance of lifting the crown if they ride to their potentials. Could be good, could be exciting, only in Speedway.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Well done to the sound engineer on that one.
No worries.
He's been practising that all day, so
it's about the only thing we ever practised on this show, ever. How are you all anyway?
All good. All good.
17,000 signatures.
it's a remarkable reaction, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Response to it has been
But let's not let it fizzle out.
incredible, but we don't want the momentum to fizzle out. It would have been, I suppose in a weird way, it would have been ideal if yesterday's meeting had gone ahead. I think, while strike while the iron's hot, while the publicity's still there, because of course the longer it goes on, it's sort of going to drift a bit out of the news, isn't it? So.
Yeah, well, we need to not let it. I mean, it was interesting and nice to see it on Midlands Today yesterday. Only a little bit, but it
was on Central News as well on Friday. Okay. So obviously they spoke to CVS and Sam Masters outside the stadium. So
right, so it feels very much to me that this is where we draw the line, where we say no more. No more Speedway stadiums must close, particularly of the nature of Wolves.
Yeah.
For no other reason. I mean, if they close because they're not earning enough money, that's one thing. But for Speedway teams to close because, you can't play her anymore.
Got a few problems with your camera, Mike, so I'm just going to switch mine around.
Okay.
What, he's on it, you mean?
Yeah. Nobody's disappointed if they can't see me, to be honest. So, with my purple shirt. Okay, it's actually not.
It's a bit of a din joke, that is.
Yeah.
It's actually brown, so.
Is it? Oh, God, I'm colourblind again. So.
Keep going, guys, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, so that's really good, but as you say, we mustn't let it fizzle out, and we will mention it every week on this show. Let's just keep that momentum going, guys. Let's keep that momentum going. However, we spent all of last week's show, I need some new teeth, all of last week's show talking about it, so I think we'll move on a little bit quicker this week, and it's the GP starts this weekend. I believe you've got the lineup in front of you from what I can see. Yeah,
we start off obviously in Croatia on Saturday, then obviously we move on to Warsaw, Poland, then Prague, Tetro in Germany, Gorzów in Germany, Melilla in Sweden, Riga in Latvia, of course the British Grand Prix at Cardiff. Hopefully it's more successful than last year's event. Then Voyens on September the 16th, and of course we finish off on September the 30th in Tavern, Poland. So again, very much a Polish dominance in terms of meetings in the venue. So let's go through the lineup then. Bartosz Zmarzlik, of course, the defending world champion. Leon Madsen, Maciej Janowski, Freddie Lindgren, Robert Lambert, Dan Bewley, Patrick Dudek, Ty Wuffenden, Martin Vashalik, Jason Doyle, Mikkel Mikkelsen, Jack Holder, Max Frick, Anders Thompson and Kim Nielsen. That's your full lineup, and I've even got the odds as well. No surprise really to see Bartosz Zmarzlik is the favourite. 11 to 10 on with the bookies.
That's hell of it. Who's going to say that?
Leon Madsen 5 to 1. Dan Bewley is the favourite of the three Brits at 8 to 1. Might be surprisingly, given he's had he did have a bit of a slow start to the season, although he rode well last night. Then Robert Lambert 10 to 1, Ty Wuffenden 14 to 1, Maciej Janowski 16 to 1, Mikkel Mikkelsen 22 to 1, Martin Vashalik 14 to 1, Freddie Lindgren 33 to 1, and just looking down there, the long shot really perhaps not surprisingly, is Sweden's Kim Nilsson on 250 to 1. So a real outside bet.
I might put a bet on that one.
He's a decent little rider though, Kim Nilsson. I mean, he's a good starter. He might, he might be a bit of a surprise packet, I think. He's certainly not going to have anything to lose in the
Is
series.
it a surprise to see of the three Brits, Ty Woffington comes out third?
I don't think so, to be honest.
He's talking. He's really come out fighting talk-wise.
Well, the good thing I think with Ty is the fact that one thing he's been able to do during the winter, which he hasn't been able to do the last couple of winters, is go back to Australia. Obviously with the COVID situation. So he's been able to go back there, get himself mentally prepared. There's no doubt he's still got the desire to win more World Championships. He's just not been able to. He's just not been able to live with Bartosz Smarslik, and of course before that Artem Ligurta as well. And he'll certainly have a point to prove, because I don't think being the third highest Brit would have been on his on his lists of things to expect last year. So
that could be a bit of a stinger for him, and maybe it will suit him coming into this championship not being one of the fancied riders, because he's usually one of the fancied riders, isn't he?
He certainly is. It'd be great if he could win another world. It'd be great if any of the three Brits managed to bring another world championship back.
Let's get a 1, 2, 3.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think 1 or 2. I think certainly Bartosz Smarslik would be one rider who would have something to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I don't think there's any doubt he's the. The bookies don't really lie, do they? He's the overwhelming favourite to win a fourth world championship.
Now I have a suggestion. For the Pearson Prediction League, that we include everybody's results for the 1, 2, 3, what they believe is going to be the 1, 2, 3 at the end of the Grand Prix season, as a sort of tiebreaker.
Could do, yeah.
If you can't join in with it, it's tough, really. But we'll just use it, so it won't be count towards the points, but it will count as a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
If needed. So we'll do that now, shall we, or do you want to discuss it further?
Well, I think we'll discuss it further a bit later on in the show. So
okay, right, so I'm going to say for my 1, 2, 3 Bartosz Smarslik.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Robert Lambert.
Ooh, second.
Yeah, I just got who knows? And I'm going to say Kim. No. I will go Leon Madsen. Third. Somebody's writing these down.
Yeah.
I'm busy now, I'm afraid. I've got so much to do.
Don't worry, I can watch it back afterwards.
Okay.
I'll just skip past all the rest of the rubbish that you come out with and just...
That'll be about 2 minutes of show left. That's the introduction. And so what are you going to go for?
I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball in this. I'm going to go for Leon Madsen to win it.
Okay.
He's been close the last couple of years. I think if it wasn't for Bartosz Smarslik, there's no doubt he would have been a serious contender to win the World Championship. I'm going to go for him to win it. I'm going to go for Bartosz Smarslik to finish second. And the one thing that surprised me going through the odds, Freddie Lindgren 33 to 1. That surprised me a little bit. I think that's quite a decent shout. I'm going to go for Freddie to finish third.
Okay.
So that's my 1, 2, 3.
Shove your 1, 2, 3s up there. Have we got any comments?
I'll get to them in just give us 2 minutes. Okay. I'm still playing around with camera at the moment.
He's playing around over there. So do it somewhere else. Get a room. Okay, so let me change the subject just a little bit then and talk about the powerhouse in British Speedway that has become Emil Sayfutdinov. I mean, wow.
He's had a great start, hasn't he? I thought he would do, to be fair. He's going to be box office whichever track he goes to. I know people who've already booked hotels and travelled to go up to Bellevue and Ipswich there, because that's going to be one of the most eagerly awaited matches of the season to see.
I've got family that went to Leicester. There's Coventry supporters actually, and they went to Leicester to see when Ipswich against Leicester specifically to watch Emil Sayfutdinov ride. And I believe there was an interview with him somewhere asking him had he ever ridden the track, and of course he says no, I haven't. he hasn't ridden the track.
No.
But so I watched a couple of YouTube videos. What did he do in his first race?
He broke the track record, didn't he?
But by nearly half a second. I mean,
Well, I've not forgotten when he rode at Birmingham. When he was at Coventry. I mean, that was an amazing night, wasn't it?
That
I mean,
was.
especially the crowd. I mean, the crowd, it was bulging. The stadium was that night. I mean, if there were crowds that week, then I don't think anybody would have any complaints with this.
No. And he was good for it as well. I mean, he was. I think Ben Barker managed to beat him in heat 15.
The last heat, wasn't it?
Yeah,
brought the house down, didn't it? Really.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a big, but it was always going to be a big crowd anyway. Derby, Coventry obviously travelled very well. They had a good team then, and of course having Emil was. And I think afterwards he was very, very complimentary about the track, wasn't he? I think he's gone on record since saying it's his favourite track in the Britain.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure I read something.
It wouldn't surprise me. I remember what he said was that if all the tracks in Britain are like that, he's gonna love it.
I don't think he felt the same way about Monmouth, to be fair. But,
no.
But I'm still looking forward to when he comes to Monmouth with Ipswich.
Absolutely. I'm thinking that might be me going down to Wolverhampton this year to watch that match as well. So I might have to buy a ticket. Okay, so Wolves was rained off.
Yep.
Now we're obviously going to talk about our two teams, Wolves and Birmingham. Could be both. Well, you had a rain off, and I went to watch them last Wednesday. But we'd love to hear about what you thought of your teams this week. I imagine Scunthorpe supporters are quite happy at the moment.
Yes. And I would imagine Plymouth supporters were very unhappy after that.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing capitulation against. I know Paul are a good side, but was it 5-1 and 4-2 in the first minutes there?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. What are they playing? Well, who knows?
I think it's the old adage of hit them early, hit them hard, and they did hit them early, and they couldn't respond.
And they haven't had a great time since, have they?
No, they haven't. It's been really disappointing for Plymouth so far. I mean, it's one of those. It's obviously it's a very small track in that division, so they're going to have a bit of a home track advantage. But you just worry about Plymouth on the road. They had a good season last year, to be fair. They did pretty decent job.
Yeah, so we could do with meeting them now to get our confidence up.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the Birmingham Scunthorpe match, not a great result.
It was a very professional performance from Scunthorpe. I mean, it was pretty clear from early on they were going to win the meeting.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it was a good meeting. I thought there was some decent racing.
Yep.
The track held up well.
Yeah, the track rode very well.
It looked smooth, didn't it? None of the bumps that we've been having. That's certainly a plus point. We've got a number one.
Certainly, I've got a number one. You've got a number one who can team ride as well. That was phenomenal.
That team.
It's been put on on Speedway's Twitter account, doesn't it?
It has, yeah. The Brummie's Twitter account, and if you get a chance to watch it, you watch it because that's old school.
That was like watching Samuel Malenko in his prime for me. That was unreal. I mean, he literally just slowed the race down towards the walking pace, didn't he? So
I mean, he knew what it was. It was poetry.
Yeah.
It was really, really.
I mean, they say that team riding really is a dying art, don't they? And you don't see many riders doing it, but that was certainly
that was definitely artistic.
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, I know Nick Morris from obviously when he was with Wolves, and I think the Birmingham fans will love Nick Morris because he gives everything. He's a great rider. He's really exciting to watch, and he will be a genuine number one. And I think that's one thing that Birmingham have missed.
Absolutely.
Certainly since they came back up into the second tier, they missed having that rider who can go out and hit number one and dominate and win it.
It was a shame about the exclusions.
Just a bit, yes.
In the first heat, I'm not sure that the second one should have been an exclusion, but from what I've heard from different people, it shouldn't have been. But these things happen. I don't think it, in the end, would have affected.
I don't think so. I mean, there was no lack of effort from Birmingham at all. It was a. I think the one thing that probably helped Scunthorpe was the fact that they had a bit more sharpness because they've, a lot of the Birmingham riders haven't really ridden that many matches so
Stefan
far.
Nelson being possibly the biggest one.
Yeah.
That
Ty Proctor as well. He looked really, really slow, didn't he? And alarmingly slow, really, Ty. So
yeah. So those were the two worries.
Yeah.
I thought Pearson did well. He got more than his average in the end. So You can't ask for more than that, can
That's
you?
right. He was on the pace, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. So he needs to gate better.
Yeah.
But so that's encouraging.
He's going to.
Yeah.
I think he's going to certainly going to be one rider who's massively going to benefit from having Nick Morris in the team alongside him.
So it was okay.
I think there's a lot. I
Could
think
do
there was.
better.
I think there was some positives to come out of that from Birmingham. Obviously, disappointment over the results.
The result, yeah.
But it's not going to get any easier, obviously, tomorrow with Redcar. Although, having said that, Redcar haven't really had as good a start to the season as people expected.
One of the favourites, weren't they? I think Speedway Star picked them as sort of.
I've tipped them to win the league. So I think they look a really good, solid team on paper.
But they've not really started well.
Yeah.
They like coming to Birmingham.
I'll tell you the truth about Redcar. I mean, obviously, I know you obviously have a little bit of fun with Redcar on here, but that's a club really that Birmingham should be aspiring to, because when you think about it, Redcar for a long period of time were really sort of battling against the tide, weren't they?
Oh,
and the last couple of years, they've really put some good, put some really proper roots in place. It's a good setup they've got up at Redcar, and I'm interested, obviously, with my club's doubts over the future as to whether that's the sort of thing that CVS might be looking at replicating down here, because they've obviously got a motorsport venue where they do Speedway and other motorsports as well.
Right. I think that's a cracking.
And Ty Wooffinen's obviously sort of got involved in that as well, hasn't he? Because he said that's the sort of thing that he wants. But moving forward, I think obviously that is going to be the long term game. That is going to be the long term future for Wolves. He's trying to sort out something away from Monmouth Green, unfortunately.
We should talk a bit about Bellevue. There's a couple of comments up on the shout box, which we will get to in a moment, folks.
Yeah.
After a dismal start, top of the league.
They've come well, haven't they? They've had some good away wins. I sensed really from the comments that Mark Lemon's made after that meeting at Monmouth that he read them the right act a little bit, because they really were poor against Wolves. I mean, we rode well, but I just felt they threw the towel in a bit too easily in that meeting. Which was disappointing, because obviously it was a big crowd. Great rivalry that we've got with Bellevue, and that was sort of it was a little bit flat really in that sense.
Yeah.
Matt, shuffle forward.
Oh, hold on, what's going on here?
So we've got the cleaners in again. So
what are you doing?
I've never seen a TV program where you can see the producer crawling around the floor while it's on live on the air. You don't see it on EastEnders, I know that.
You ain't seen me, boy.
Right. So anyway, sorry about that, folks. Well, we will look at the comments as soon as our producer has stopped. I don't know what he's doing. Looking for Mecca.
I think he knows what he's doing, to be fair. So
I think he's looking for Mecca. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, Bellevue obviously three very good away wins as well. Great away win. Ipswich haven't been quite as dominant as we thought so far.
No, because their top two certainly. Well, even Danny King, I suppose, as well, to a lesser degree, have been what we thought they would be.
Yeah.
But they've been let down a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, there's that rather long tail that's wagged a bit too much, isn't it? So
yeah. Well, hasn't wagged.
I should say. Yeah. So never get that right.
Yeah. Well, neither can Ipswich apparently. However, they are going to get crowds all year.
Oh, they will do. Certainly, they'll be the big draw for when they go away, because of their top two, and certainly the novelty of seeing Emil Seifert off back on a bike on British soil. So. Yeah,
absolutely. It's, hello, it's disappeared. I was just going to read a comment that had come up, but it's all right. Can we go with the comments now, please, sir?
Would you like me to?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start from the
there's quite a few to go with.
Okay. I think Woffingen is worth a punt this year, even if you put it on each way. Bookies mustn't follow Speedway that much. I was getting 20 to 1 for Woffingen before the season, says Craig's me.
I mean, I think that's not a bad shout.
They usually just look at the results, don't they? I think the bookies in Speedway, it's not really something that they take a huge amount of notice in, I don't think so.
And Craig said he was disappointed with the Bellevue crowd last night. I think if Pedersen was riding, it would have certainly been a closer meeting and more bums on seats He's certainly screwed Peterborough over there, I feel. Shame, but looks like they're getting the wooden spoon again this year.
We didn't really get a chance to talk about that much last week, did we?
No,
Because obviously our attentions were elsewhere. But I don't know whether you saw Richie Worrell's interview on social media at Leicester.
No.
Really, really was damning about Pedersen, and now he felt he'd let the club down, and he was
Well, he has.
disappointed with him. It's quite.
There's an interview in the Speedway Star, wasn't there? And he was blaming the British tracks, essentially, saying they don't prepare them right and so on and so forth.
Well, he's complained about British tracks before. I mean, he's known it. So, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing,
Emil
really.
Saifutinov doesn't seem to be having much problem.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate Nicky's obviously had a tough 2 or 3 years with with a string of really bad injuries. I wonder as well whether maybe there's been a bit of pressure from his club in Poland to say, we don't want you riding on their tracks over there because you're more susceptible to getting injured. But it's really disappointing. And I think there was a lot of sort of people about Peterborough who were a bit unsure when they signed him because it didn't really work the last time he went to Peterborough in 2011. And I suppose to that extent they've been they feel a bit vindicated in that as well. So it's disappointing. I mean, I'm hopefully going to try and get over to Peterborough this season. He's going to be there last year at the showground. I mean, admittedly, it's not a track that Wolves do very well at, but it's a fabulous, it's a lovely very good racetrack. Yeah,
it's a lovely racetrack. Kings Lynn should drop down a league if there is one left.
Yeah, another big thumping last night, wasn't it? Admittedly, against a good Sheffield team, but.
Yeah, I mean, which one's the worst at the moment, Peterborough or Kings Lynn? Who knows? I would love to have Kings Lynn in the Championship along with us, but where's that going to leave the Premiership? It's going to be one league next year, isn't it? I can't see any other thing working if the people that are dropping out drop out.
Yep.
If Peterborough goes, if God forbid Wolverhampton goes.
It's back down to 5, so. And there's doubts about other clubs even in the second tier. I mean,
Yes.
we've still got niggling doubts about Poole, of course.
Yeah, and Birmingham. It's make or break time. Rich Thomas says he never rated Proctor. I thought he showed some glimpses. His first race was good.
I think a big thing with Ty really is his confidence.
Yeah.
He's a confidence rider. He was always a confidence rider when he was at Wolves. And he's had another tough couple of years, but I was expecting a little bit more from him. Certainly in the opening weeks of the season.
Yeah.
He's going to be riding against reserve. He's going to be riding against a lot of riders who are more sort of experienced at national league level than in the second tier.
Do you think that Birmingham should be looking at a not permanent, but a 28-day replacement scenario for Wright? And maybe, I mean, that's not to say that they haven't, of course, and not being able to find anybody, because I don't know who's available for that sort of average.
It would have to be somebody who's not riding in the UK already, wouldn't it? So.
Yeah. I say if Lawrence is there listening, maybe he could...
I don't think he's going to sell you, let's put it that way.
I don't think he's going to be listening anyway. He's too busy putting the tyres and the sheets on the track. So. Jeff Daniels, I did make comment before Ace's 3 away meetings after the shameful performance at Wolves. Obviously, Lemo got the reaction he wanted by winning all 3 away meetings, including Ipswich with Doyle Saifutinov, then last night's home win against poor Peterborough. Seymour.
Mm-hmm.
Seymour. The one shining light for Peterborough was Ben Cook, 8 paid 9, Heat 15 appearance also for him for the first time. Also, first time he's rode the NSS.
Yeah, that was a 1+ sport for Peterborough, really, when you think about it. So, but again, I think they've just been sort of sideswiped really by the loss of Nicky Pedersen.
Interesting. I mean, let's talk about this. Dave Twines brought up, and this is definitely an only in Speedway moment. The Jubilee final, Leicester May the 13th and Poole May the 31st. About time. So that's the final from last year.
Yeah.
And they are now in 2 different leagues. Comment.
Well, the thing is, that competition started off as the Summer Trophy, didn't it?
Yeah.
Then it was changed to the Jubilee League because it was the Queen's Jubilee. Then one team pulled out because with the death of the Queen, they felt it was inappropriate to run it. And now it's been run the following season. It's not until almost middle of the season, middle of May. So, I think it's running it just for the sake of it, really.
There'll be a big crowd for that, won't there? And how are they going to do? What are they going to do with the teams? They're in two different leagues. How are they going to even the teams out?
Well, they'll probably have guests, won't they? So, it's just. I don't know. I think sometimes I think you have to just say, let's just shelve it. Save the embarrassment. So.
Or say that team's won because they scored more points than that team.
Yeah, I understand the need to have different competitions, especially as there's less league matches now with less teams to do it. But I think something like this, come on, I think just put it down to experience and just move on.
Yeah, it's terrible. Just slowly put it out of sight.
Yeah. Sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah, exactly right. I do with a lot of other things. So.
They certainly do, so.
Okay, reading between the lines of his interview in Speedway Star, I think the Polish club has had a few words with Pedersen. He said they pay a large sum of his wages during the season, and getting injured on poor technical tracks in England is too much of a Seymour. In England, it's too much of a risk for him, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Hans Andersen...
But it was just exactly the same amount of risk before he started and signed. That's the point, isn't it? He knew what he... Yeah. It's not as if he doesn't know the British tracks and knows what they're like.
Yeah. I think Rich Thomas has put a comment further up, hasn't he, about Hans Andersen said that there's two sides to the story with Nicky, so...
Hans Andersen said there's two sides to the Nicky story, so there's more to it, I feel. Okay.
And to be fair, they're not exactly the best of friends, Hans Andersen and Nicky Pedersen, so, sort of jump to his defence a little bit.
Scott Nicholls has had a good start to the season.
Scott Nicholls has been flying, hasn't he? I think he's benefited from the fact that he's only doing the one leg. I mean, it's been like watching the Scott Nicholls of 10, 15 years ago. He's been superb. Scott
Nicholls was brilliant for Sheffield Tigers last Thursday at Ipswich, rolling back the years.
It'll be a sad day when Scott Nicholls does eventually decide to undo his leathers for good, undo his Kevlars, I should say, for good, because he's still a classy rider.
Absolutely,
no doubt about that.
Absolutely. Okay, well,
I think we caught up.
I think we caught up with everybody. Simon Corbett says pick up Dylan Rummel.
Dylan Rummel, decent rider. Was a good. Was it him or his brother that rode for Oxford last year? I think it was Dylan, wasn't it?
It was Dylan, I think. Yeah. It's whether they can make that happen. Oh dear. Will you turn your phone off, please?
Who had 8:30 in the sweepstake for someone's phone going off? So.
It wasn't me, so it must be one of you, Pierre.
Okay. Charles Wright knocking on the door for a World Cup pick, I feel. Looks a different rider now he's had his shoulder operated on. He has had a good start as well.
He's a good rider, Charles Wright. He's very underrated. I mean, this is a guy that 4 years ago won the British Championship, so...
Are we looking forward to the World Cup this year?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it back.
Yeah.
I think the format has been announced, hasn't it? It was announced, I think, about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a look at that.
We will.
Obviously before the competition starts. I like the fact that as well, I think it's going to be every 3 years, which I think adds a little bit of gravitas to it rather than having it every year.
I mean, that's what the Football World Cup's every 4 years. All World Championships that are worth their salt, I think, are like that.
Yeah. I'll tell you who is doing well, who has come on in leaps and bounds, certainly over the last 12 months, and has had some good meetings in recent weeks, and obviously he's a guy that is known well at Birmingham, and that's Daniel Hume.
I love that guy. I love the way his whole attitude to the sport. It's just perfect.
I mean, the last 2 minutes, I think he's beaten Max Frick and Dan Violi, so he's... well, I mean, he rode really well at Birmingham last season. Was it Red Car he came back with? No, it was Glasgow, wasn't it?
Glasgow, yeah, I think.
Yeah. I think what was nice about that as well was that there was a big crowd of Birmingham fans around him at the end of the meeting congratulating him. So I think he's still very well liked.
Gosh, yes.
He's a lovely guy as well. Really got a lot of time for Daniel Hume.
Well, let's see if we can get him on the show.
He's been on before, hasn't he? I think
he's been on before, yeah. Okay, I guess if we make a quick go. First of all, there are any meetings tonight? I think
There is one, isn't there?
Yeah. And
It's at Plymouth. They'll be hoping to bounce back after their
that's one hell of a bounce back.
disastrous night at Poole. So we'll just keep. I think it is actually against Poole. Maybe serves me right. So we'll have a look at that one and see how it's getting on. It is, of course, it's a 7:00 start, so they should be pretty much most of the way through that meeting by now. So
very cool.
it's currently Plymouth 40, Poole 32.
Wow. Okay.
So again, difference obviously in track size. So
Here's a topic we were talking about off air as well.
Yes.
Regarding how do you feel about Brummies streaming some of their home meetings? Will it affect the takings on the gate? Good question.
And we was talking about this before, wasn't we?
I think I've always thought that something like streaming is beneficial really for away fans who maybe can't get down there.
And then that then in turn will be beneficial to the club because they will get some of that.
Yep.
The worry, I suppose, is if you look out your window and you think, oh, it could rain. Oh, I'll watch it on the computer.
Yeah. But then again, of course, the club still gets some money for that, don't they? So
you reckon, because you was in the crowd last Wednesday and you reckoned it wasn't a bad crowd?
It was a decent crowd, I thought. There was a lot of people inside because it was bitterly cold. You'll know that from your vantage point on the...
Yes. Yeah. I was jumping up and down.
There was a lot of people inside, to be fair. So
it's very difficult sometimes to judge from the centre green how many.
Because you don't really sort of take notice of how many's inside, do you? No. So it's also the people in the lower bar that you that have gone in there to maybe get warm or something or get a drink.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's something they've got to try. It seems to have worked at other clubs.
I mean, Plymouth have had it for not Plymouth, Edinburgh. They've obviously been the main
and Scunthorpe doing it
as well. So
so I think, as I say, I think it's something that actually needs to be tried. You can always stop doing it if it doesn't work. I guess
that's it.
I do wonder whether there could be some sort of location. Where if you're within a certain amount of miles of the track,
I think Edinburgh did that, didn't they? I think it was 25 miles. Within 25 miles, you couldn't get it. Although there's probably ways of getting around.
There certainly is ways. I mean, I've already worked out how to do that. But even so, okay. Right, shall we go on to the Nigel Pearson League and spend 10 minutes on that before we come back to
let's get
GPs and whatever else?
I have actually got the...
what we've decided to do with these is to just whiz through them as quickly as we can so it doesn't...
Carry on putting your comments up on the chat.
Yeah, we will get back to you as always.
Meanwhile, here we go. Oh, I'm afraid...
I don't want to look at this.
It's not good. It's not good for me and you anyway.
No.
It's probably better than
Neither
me.
does our defending champion, I think, either. So.
No.
Oh no, he must be very worried now. I mean, look at him.
Is he just
languishing?
lulling us into a sense of false?
He's doing a bloody good job. Sorry, I should have had this.
Yes, you should have done. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Every time I say Cradley. There you go. No, I shouldn't say that. I'd love to have him in another club that we should have back.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got their own anyway. That's it.
Oh, they have indeed, yeah. That's more appropriate. So.
Says a Warstone. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're ready, and I think we'll start with, I do believe it's your turn to go first this week, Chris.
Yep.
It would be, wouldn't it?
And the first one is tomorrow night at Sandy Lane. Oxford against Edinburgh. That's in the first round or first leg of the quarter-final of the Knockout Cup.
I should say Oxford are not doing too bad at the moment either.
No, they're the big success story in Speedway in recent seasons, haven't they?
Absolutely. So. Anyway, Oxford versus Edinburgh.
I'll go Edinburgh by 6.
Really? Yeah, I will go Oxford by 10.
I know what I'm talking about.
I've gone Oxford by 10 on that one as well.
Okay.
Okay. Next up is Birmingham against Redcar.
Why do I always get this? Oh dear, this is really difficult for me.
Yeah.
That's in the Base End series, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to say Birmingham by 2.
I've gone the other way. I've gone Redcar by 2.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I'll be quite happy at that.
Yep. Well, I don't know whether you'd be happy with 2 away, 2 home defeats to start the season.
No. I mean, I'm just hoping the lads pull it out. But
Okay, Christopher.
Birmingham by 6.
Okay. Next up is Sheffield against Peterborough in the Premiership. Doesn't get any doesn't get any easier for the Panthers, does it?
No. This is your go, Matt.
I've gone Sheffield by 22.
Wow. Come on then.
Sheffield by 12.
I'm going to say Sheffield by 20.
Okay, next up is Leicester against Kings Lynn.
And that's to you, Chris.
I'll go Leicester by 6.
Leicester by 6. I will go Leicester by 18.
I've gone Leicester by 16. Okay.
Yep.
Next up is the second leg of the quarter-final in the Knockout Cup from tomorrow night, and that's Edinburgh against Oxford.
And it's up to you, Matt. Chris.
Again?
No, it's up to me, sorry. Yeah. Don't worry, it won't hurt you. I'm going to say... I'm going to go for a draw. Matt?
I've gone Edinburgh by 6.
And Chris?
Edinburgh by 4.
So we've all got... so we've both got Oxford going through, and he's got Edinburgh going through. So next up, we've got Scunthorpe. Redcar against Scunthorpe in the Base End series.
That could be a tasty meeting, couldn't it? And that's up to you, Matt.
I've gone Redcar by 12.
I'll go Redcar by 6.
I think it's going to be closer than... I'm going to say Redcar by 6 as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up is Glasgow against Berwick. I want to talk about Berwick, actually, when we've done this.
Yeah. Matt? Chris, I mean?
Sorry, what was it again, Berwick?
Glasgow versus Berwick.
Oh, I'll go Glasgow by 6.
I think that's not a bad shout, actually. I'll go Glasgow by 6.
Oh, I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
And Matt?
I've gone Glasgow by 10. We've all gone fairly close, haven't we, sir?
Yeah, because Berwick have started...
Yeah, so we'll talk about Berwick, actually, once we've gone through the scores then.
Okay.
Next up is Berwick against Redcar. That's in the first round, second leg of the KO Cup. That'll be an interesting one.
It will, won't it? And it's up to me again.
Yep.
I'm going to say Berwick by 6.
I've gone Berwick by 10.
Okay.
I'll
And
go
Chris,
Berwick by 12.
and a partridge in a pear tree.
Me.
Oh.
Okay, next up, as we drop into the National Development League, it's Mildenhall against the Berwick Bullets.
And that's up to you, Matt.
I've gone Mildenhall by 20.
Do you want to shout your...
Mildenhall by 16.
Okay, and I'm going to say Mildenhall by 16 as well.
They've had a good start, haven't they, Mildenhall?
Very.
Yeah. Okay. Bellevue against Leicester is the main one on Bank Holiday Monday.
Could be an interesting meeting.
Yep.
Was it again, sorry?
Sure, Bellevue, Leicester.
I'll go Bellevue by 4, I think.
Interesting. I'll say Bellevue by 6.
I've gone Bellevue by 10.
So we're all in the same sort of ballpark there.
Okay. Next up is Ipswich against Kings Lynn.
Oh dear.
Dear.
I'll say Ipswich by 22. It's just such a different track, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's your game, your Matt.
I've gone Ipswich by 16.
I'll go Ipswich by 14.
Okay.
You really need to stop following Simon. It's doing you no good at all.
Okay, talking of completely different tracks, Wolves against Peterborough on Monday.
Wolves versus Peter. Well, that's not a great draw for you on a time when you want positive reactions. This is up to you, Matt.
I've gone Wolves by 16.
And our producer's busy over there, so I'll give mine and I'll say Wolves by 18.
I'll go Wolves by 12.
Okay.
I think Peterborough will quite take that, to be honest, at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
I think they would. How many more we got to go?
And we've got one more, and that's in the Championship next Tuesday, Plymouth against Scunthorpe.
Plymouth against Scunthorpe. And this is up to you, Chris.
I'll go Plymouth by 10.
I'll go Scunthorpe by 10.
I'll go a draw on that.
Okay, could we get
Interesting.
any more diverse?
No.
Our,
Yeah.
Just a bit. Well, we don't all want to go for the same thing, do we? So.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, there you go.
Right, well, what I mean...
Berwick, yes.
Yeah, what a start they've had. I mean, that was a brilliant result at Edinburgh, wasn't it? I mean, they won it fairly comfortably as well. So I think it was by 8 they won, so...
And there's a little lad there doing really well that we know at Birmingham.
Yep. Of course.
It's not so little now, is he, really?
No, of course, but no, it was a really really good performance from Berwick. They're not really fancied, are they, to do that well, but they are.
No, I don't think we picked them to do particularly well.
Yep.
But I might have to change my mind on that.
Yeah, their only snag, of course, is obviously they've lost Nathan Stoneman. Of course, he had a crash in that meeting at Edinburgh, and
Been
he's
a lot of injuries.
suffered a shoulder separation. Well, that sounds pretty painful,
What?
doesn't it? So,
Yeah.
lengthy spill on the sidelines for him. So, Berwick have called up their skipper of their NDL team, Greg Player, to step in for them on for this Friday's BSN Series Group decider at Glasgow, and also in their home Knockout Cup clash with Redcar on Saturday.
I'll know the track, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah, they've done so good.
Good. Yeah. Difficult place to go as well. Edinburgh to go there and win. So, I mean, they're
I
not.
don't think did anybody actually pick that to
No,
happen?
nobody
So,
predicted that. I think that most people on there predicted a comfortable home win, didn't
Yeah.
they? So, which I could understand really, but
I mean, and the other side of the coin, of course, is Edinburgh hasn't had the best of starts, not by their standards with looking at the team that they've picked.
well, I mean, obviously they've lost Sam Masters, haven't they? Which was a big
Yes.
blow because I mean he was a huge points machine for Edinburgh.
And there has been a few injuries early on in the season, hasn't there, that are affecting people. We had an injury before we even started,
Yeah,
which is Dylan Rummel.
Great name.
It's not a bad call, actually.
absolutely not.
Are you listening, Lawrence?
Let's have a look at the BSN series, obviously, because we've had a few matches, obviously, in this competition now. So, first of all, in the Scottish group, of course, it is a decider, effectively this weekend. Glasgow and Berwick both on 5 points. Edinburgh out of it now on 2. In the Northern group, well, it's a bit one-sided. Scunthorpe with 7 and Redcar and Birmingham with nothing so far.
So there's still a chance. It's the top 2, isn't it?
Yep, and the Southern group, Poole 7, Oxford 2, Plymouth 0.
Well, that's decided, really.
Yeah, but it's a good way to start the season. I think. I mean, not having the league. The league obviously doesn't start until I think end of May, June, does it? So obviously they're going to get these out of the way first, which gives a lot of these clubs a chance to get some more meetings in.
I mean, I've been a bit sort of down on how I feel Birmingham are performing, but in actual fact, when you look at that, we're not out of anything yet.
No, not at the moment, certainly.
Good results against Redcar, and of course Redcar will be feeling exactly the same.
Yeah.
But, it's all
I think
to play for.
ultimately most people are going to be more sort of towards the league programme, aren't they? So, but let's have a look at the Premiership table as well. As we said, Bellevue with that great run of form. Obviously, they're top at the moment on 9, Sheffield on 5, Ipswich 4, Wolves 3, Leicester 3, Kings Lynn 2, and Peterborough. Well, all sorts of problems for the Panthers at the moment with no points from their 4 meetings. Really hasn't been.
I feel.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, I'm glad there's been a lot of support for my club, but let's have a lot of support for Peterborough as well, because they're in exactly the same position as us.
Exactly.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's a good shout. Let's get a petition going for that.
Peterborough, yeah. It just I just get the impression with Peterborough, it just seems almost as if they've just waved the white flag, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is not really, I mean, there's a good history of Speedway in Peterborough, and it's a fantastic racetrack as well. Yeah, so
at one point I would have called it the best racetrack in the country.
I think it has been in the past. I know they've had problems there in recent years. So
I visited Leicester for the first time last Thursday for the Bellevue meeting, and it had me thinking, like we were saying last week, Speedway doesn't need big stadiums to run. If Wolves could find land, and that's a big if, when they could certainly run like Leicester, very basic facilities, probably low running costs, but most people go to watch a great night of racing, not to look at a lovely new stadium.
I totally agree.
yeah, I totally agree with that.
So going back to the walls around the...
tracks in fields. That's what we need, tracks in fields. And it's not a stadium, and it's a wooden fence essentially around the outside.
Yeah.
Good quality wooden fence, but that's where it is. That's all you need, isn't it?
It is, yeah. They've got a very good, nice little setup at Leicester. I've been very impressed when a couple of times that I've been there.
The track hasn't had the best of.
I think it's got better.
It has got
better,
yeah.
to be fair. And I think as a club, Leicester, I think when they went up into the top league the first time in 2014, it was way too soon. They weren't established. They'd only had a couple of years back racing after a 28-year absence, I think. And it just didn't really work, and they struggled all the way through that first spell in the top league. They've dropped back down. They've got a good commercial side of it now. They've got an excellent team manager in Stuart Dickerton, and I think they're in a much healthier position now. I wonder whether part of the reason they've gone up is, of course, because of Paul's dominance in the championship. To be fair, but I've already made my views on that. I personally don't think Paul should be in that league. But
the way things are looking,
they won't be in that league.
Same league next year, aren't they? So, Berrington Lough at Berwick was basically a track in the field, says Derek Turner.
It was also in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's a tiny little place. I know my brother went there once, I think, but it was really, really. I believe it's still there. Actually, the outline of the track is still there. There was no facilities there anyway. To be fair, but completely different to the Sheffield Park in terms of size. So,
which is a very wide track, isn't it? And very wide bends.
I'm not. I have to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the Berwick track. It's. I mean, I know when Sky were covering a lot of the second tier speeder, they had a big thing about going to Berwick, and it's never really my sort of track, to be fair. Right. I just thought it was. I thought it was a bit too narrow, and the shape was a bit wrong. But I suppose obviously that's sort of restricted by the fact that it goes around the football pitch as well. So yeah. Although I believe they get bigger crowds than Berwick Rangers do. So
do they?
As far as I'm aware. So
really,
okay.
I suppose. Yeah.
It's one of the rare occasions where having the football there is supplemented by having the speedway there. So.
Right.
Not the other way around. So it's 43-41 at Plymouth, by the way, now with one heat to go.
43-41.
So we've got a last eight decider.
Exciting.
The lineup for that one has not been announced yet. I mean, actually, after heat 11, it was 39-27 in favour of Paul, but in favour of Plymouth, by the way. There's too many P's in Speedway. So, heat 12, heat 13, both 5-1s with Paul, and they got a heat 14, heat 14. So, Paul have got a bit of momentum, and you maybe fancy them to pinch it.
They need to get a 5-1
there.
I fancy a P now.
Where? Effield Park, Milton Keynes, that was a field. So it's certainly, yeah, I mean, when I say, and no facilities, there needs to be toilets.
Yeah. Well, you would. I mean, you obviously went to Ballsy Green. You wouldn't have said that had great facilities,
No,
really.
but it was, it was not a bad, when the stock car didn't ruin it,
Yeah.
it was not a bad little
Is
track,
it a case
actually.
of like, it's sort of that age where you didn't really think about facilities and that you went there to, watch the game or the
the match,
or the meeting, you know what I mean?
A little bit, I think.
Right.
But I think we need to get back to that and not try to compete as on the. We're never going to compete with your football and your rugby and all of that. We need to be what we are.
I mean, it's great what Bellevue have got at the National Speedway Stadium, but of course we're not all fortunate enough to be able to the ability to go and have a stadium like that. If we did, it'd be fantastic. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at, and even in Poland, it's a borrowed sport. They're borrowing people's stadiums a lot of the time. They're football stadiums, aren't they?
Yeah. They get good crowds, though, don't they?
They get great crowds.
They get great crowds. Yeah.
Although did somebody say that crowds are sort of like decreasing slightly?
That's Sweden.
Oh, is it Sweden?
Sweden's
Okay.
crowds have dropped off in the last few years.
Why is that? Why?
I think it just goes through phases where it's
Yeah.
popular. To be fair, I mean, Sweden's big problem is that since Tony Rickardsson retired, they've had nobody at all. So
Right. Have they ever been a big speedway nation?
Yes.
they were a huge.
Really?
I mean, certainly in the 50s and 60s when they had the likes of funding and and
Yeah.
Bent Janssen and people like that, and obviously in going on to the 70s, they had people like Anders Michenik. So
Anders Michenik,
yeah, I mean, obviously Sorensen Justin, what a tragic end he had to his life as well. So
Let's not bring us down. We've tried to keep the thing.
Yeah.
Keep the thing up. Let's try and keep it up.
Keep it up.
That's the
Look it up.
So yeah, I think the point in that isn't that the having it bringing Speedway down to having just tracks in fields. The point is putting Speedway in a situation where it owns its own property. You can bring it up from that. You can make a stadium. Yeah, that's how football started.
Yeah.
It's exactly how football started.
Yeah.
You don't. You look at a great stadium like Aston Villa now. It's not. It's not been like that ever since Aston Villa started.
it certainly hasn't. No.
Or Birmingham City, or any other club. It's all been football pitches in fields, and I just feel that's what we've got to do. But Brian Buck says Leicester Stadium has all the facilities that most supporters would wish for, although a number of riders are not comfortable on their track. But generally speaking, the better tracks seem to be those that do not have a surrounding dog track.
Well, we discussed that last week, didn't we? Really, that Speedway's, is at the whim of landlords and and the greyhounds, and if they don't want you there, then you've not really got much of a say, unfortunately. So,
Absolutely. So there you go.
Okay.
I'd like to hear that there's Dave Twine. I'm taking 3 lads that used to go to the old track at Perry Bar in the 70s. They will find the crowd a shock tomorrow. Yeah. I've actually got some people coming up. I'm not sure whether it'll be tomorrow. I think it'll be later on in the season that used to go. And listen to this. Right, listen to this. This conversation happened between the person that I'm going to be talking about and the boss of my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I wasn't involved in it. I was told about it afterwards. But because my girlfriend knows I go to Speedway, this is what happened. Oh, I used to go to the Speedway, she said.
yeah.
It's a shame it doesn't happen anymore.
Oh yeah.
Well, I know it does because my girlfriend, my girlfriend, not his girlfriend, goes to her boyfriend goes to the Speedway and she's always telling me about it. Well, where does he go? Well, Birmingham. No, it doesn't go to Birmingham. It doesn't exist in Birmingham anymore. Now, how long have we been going now?
2007, wasn't it? It started?
2007 it started, and they don't. And proper Speedway fans don't know it's there. What? I don't understand that. Somebody explain that to me.
There's actually a lot of people in Manchester who've said that people who think that Bellevue don't run anymore,
Right.
which is quite astonishing.
Unbelievable.
You know,
Get it all the time.
I mean, this is arguably the most iconic club in British Speedway.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it is. I don't think there's any argument about
Oh, I
that.
don't think there is, to be fair. I mean, it's such a unique name, isn't it, Bellevue Aces? So,
So, yeah.
yeah, where have you been, Ben? So,
Yeah, where have
done
you
time for the
been?
last 5 minutes. It's been a good show.
I think he should be fined, actually.
Well, he doesn't know what the tiebreaker is. So, there you go. Right. Well, it's 3 minutes to. Yeah.
Not far off, is it? So?
Well, 3 minutes to that time. I just want to go back to reiterate what I said at the beginning of the show. If you haven't signed the Wolverhampton petition,
Please
why
do.
not? Do it. Do it now. I'm sure we can put a link up. Make you work again, Webby. And also, let's think about Peterborough as well and what we can do.
They've sort of been forgotten about, haven't they? To be fair, which is
They need their own petition.
Yeah.
Because it's a similar situation. It's a landlord saying, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going back to what we were just talking about, I was in a shop with my Bellevue hoodie on yesterday, and 3 people stopped and said, "Oh, I used to go. Are they still going?"
This is, I mean, they say Speedo is the best kept secret in.
It's a secret
Speedo.
sport.
It's a secret sport because we don't tell anybody about it, do we? So.
I mean, but that's the case in point. But by just wearing your Bellevue hoodie,
Yeah.
so get your Birmingham Speedway clothes on and go shopping in them, whatever.
Yeah.
I have done that and walked around with a Birmingham Speedway hat on and had people come up to me and say, "Oh, it's a shame they're not going anymore." Well, duh. I've got a Speedway star in my hand as well at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mad. I don't understand it. Did you know that Birmingham City is still going?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aston Villa are still going. I mean, it's just
only just running half a stage.
yeah.
Didn't say which direction.
Looks like Plymouth will get the win as Steve Worrell has been disqualified in Heat 15. Well. So it looks like Paul are going to lose that. So we finish on a high note.
Can I say you can still get your new Speedway Tavern mugs in our shop.
We've got a shop.
We have, yes, and the link is on our page as well. So because I've noticed you've still got the old one, haven't you?
I've still got the old
You've
one.
got
It's
the old
looking a
one.
bit. It's looking a bit worse away now, unfortunately.
So I'll have to bring the new one in for Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you've got to put something in it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a start. Right, well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Enjoy your Speedway this week. Hope the weather stays with you. Have fun. Adios.
Good night.
Good night.